You've asked me numerous times here, name the countries of concern that Iran is involved with, and I've named those for you on many occasions. Iran, Yemen, Syria, you name it, where they're involved. Thanks, Laurie.
So as long as what the protesters are protesting, or as long as their message lines up with the administration's policy position, you support them.
Matt, I think you're wrong there, and here's why. Because as a general matter, we support peaceful protests and conversations that may not always be convenient to the United States, that may not always be convenient to that host country. We talk about that. We talk about the right to free speech. We believe that that is a fundamental human right. Whether it's here, whether it's in Iran, whether it's in Russia, you name the country, we support that free speech. You know that. Okay.
Can I take you just a bit further on what you're saying?
All right, then we'll move on because we're starting to get.
Do you support free speech for the Palestinians?
Look, we support free speech. You know that.
And their right to protest.
And a right to protest.
And you get appalled when 15 and 16-year-old girls are taken in the middle of the night and punched and kicked and stand before a military court. Do you condemn that?
Teenagers, young people, yes, absolutely.
Yes, I'm talking about a very young teenage Palestinian, Ahad Tamimi, who was taken in the middle of the night. She stood before a military court yesterday with 12 charges and so on. Do you urge the Israelis to release the young teenager?
Yeah. Saeed, I'm not going to have as much for you as you want on this particular situation. I'm a mom, of small children. I think any parent watching could relate to concerns about the treatment of children. We believe that all individuals, especially children, should be treated humanely. They should be treated with respect for their human rights, their individual rights. I'm not going to have anything more for you on that. I'd have to refer you to the government.
The principle that the Israelis ought to release 300 kids who are under the age of 16.
Saeed, I don't have any information on that, so I just can't confirm that that is the actual.
Let me ask you a couple of things on the Palestinian-Israeli issue. There's an article in the New York Times that says that the Israeli government was emboldened by the U.S. recognition of Jerusalem, by all that transpired in the last couple of weeks, to basically do what they did yesterday and basically annex the West Bank. What is your?
I'm afraid I don't have anything for you on that.
You don't have a position on this?
I don't have anything for you on that particular report. Okay, I can get back to you and see if I have anything more.
Also, there was a vote on Jerusalem and the Knesset, where they basically prevented any future government there was a bill to prohibit any future government from ceding any parts of Jerusalem, contrary to international agreements. Do you agree with that?
I'm sorry.
Are you aware of that?
Restate that. Yes, I'm aware of that.
Are you
Knesset
aware
vote.
of the Jerusalem vote and the Knesset?
Yes, I am aware of that.
Prohibit any future Israeli government from ceding any part of Jerusalem?
Okay. One of the most important things for this administration is to have peace talks between the various sides to get them to a place of peace. That has not changed. That position remains the same. And those conversations and those talks will continue. I'm not going to get ahead of some of those conversations.
Okay, my last question on this. You believe that Jerusalem ought to be a final status issue as it's always been?
We have always talked about final status negotiations and that being a part of the final status negotiation. Okay, let's move on.
Well, hold on, just one more on this issue. It has to do with this report about the ambassador in Tel Aviv, who is reported to have wanted the administration to stop calling the West Bank occupied. Without getting into internal government deliberations, does the administration still believe that the West Bank is
I
occupied?
can't confirm that conversation or what, you know.
Do you still, does the administration believe that the West Bank is occupied?
I can only say that our position has not changed. Our position on that hasn't changed.
Does that mean that you still regard the West Bank as being occupied?
Matt, I can just tell you our position hasn't changed. I'm going to be very careful with the words because anything related to this region, as many others, is extremely sensitive. Our position has not changed, and I won't budge from that.
Okay. At some point, it would be nice to find out exactly what that position is. You shouldn't be afraid, precisely because it is so sensitive. You shouldn't be afraid, unless you're embarrassed by what the policy is, not you personally, but whoever. You shouldn't be afraid to say what it is
I
instead of just saying
I don't think
it hasn't
Matt,
changed.
as you have seen, when America speaks about a matter, it is taken very seriously.
I know.
And so that is why it's important for the United States to be careful with its words. And you may not get all the words that you were hoping to get, but I'm going to be careful with the words.
Okay, well, does that include, tweeting stuff about Little Rocket Man and things like that?
Matt,
To be careful with your words, or
I-
fire and fury is going to rain down on North Korea?
I'm not even going to go there, Matt, okay?
If you're saying that the position hasn't changed, why won't you just state the position?
Michelle, the position hasn't changed. I'm not going there, okay? You've
Just-
got all, that's
okay.
it on that, okay? Let's move on. North Korea.
Do you have any response to the idea of direct talks between North and South Korea?